there's the music. Welcome back. We were discussing earlier France and Germany advancing to the quarterfinals of the World Cup on Monday. They will meet on Friday in Rio de Janeiro. Now, Rio is one of the 12 host cities that are sprinkled throughout Brazil. Another is Manaus, located deep into the Amazon jungle. Critics say that the massive amount of money spent to host the games, well, there has not or will not pay off at all. Stephen Gibbs is in Manaus, and he has this report.
Well, welcome to Manaus, the capital of Brazil's Amazon state and one of the 12 host cities for the World Cup, or at least it was. All 4 tournament matches have now been played in the city's $300 million stadium, and that has been controversial. Here's more on that. For the last 2 weeks, it has been the spectacular setting for some great football. But as the cheers of delight die down, a lingering question remains. What is going to happen to this stadium on the edge of the jungle? It is a $300 million venue in a city with no major football team. The day after the last match, we went to see Manaus's World Cup coordinator. Outside his office, there was a reminder that all is not well here. These protesters were complaining about the city's bad housing. The coordinator insists the stadium will actually help solve such problems.
We have created a reason for people to come here to participate in major sporting events, to see big shows. We are creating a new industry for our city.
But those that were always against building a World Cup stadium here say that such predictions are over-optimistic.
All the visitors have disappeared. Now the city is going back to normal. The problems are all still here. The stadium won't be used for football, and we will be in debt, I'm sure.
Manaus certainly has its social problems. Just 1 mile from the stadium, people are living like this. The city authorities say the stadium will bring money to Manaus, and ultimately everyone will benefit. But its opponents argue exactly the opposite. They say it will be a drain on resources. So what to do? This man, who's actually a city councillor, thinks the fight over whether the stadium was a good or bad idea needs to end. He believes the arena should be used to host lucrative televised martial arts matches.
It's a dream of all of us in Manaus that the beautiful stadium will, in the near future, be used for UFC events like a World Cup of martial arts.
The Amazon Arena does look set to become an icon of this city for decades to come. Depending on what use is made of it, it will either be seen as a symbol of success or a reminder of failure. Well, one of the main reasons for hosting the World Cup here in Manaus was to increase tourism revenue, both short and long term. We've been to one of the main tourism attractions here to see if it really did get a World Cup boost. The Amazon is perhaps the place most often associated with Brazil, but actually one of its least visited regions. Less than 10% of foreign tourists who travel to this country add this to their itineraries. Owing to the World Cup, visitor numbers are up, but not perhaps as much as some hoped.
For me, it was good. I was hoping it would be fantastic, but it wasn't that.
But it is the longer-term legacy which really matters, and the Amazon authorities are hoping the World Cup will persuade a whole new generation of travellers that you don't need to be especially adventurous or rich to come here.
The benefit is incalculable in terms of media exposure, in terms of the positive view the world now has of the Amazon region.
This is the side of the Amazon which perhaps many global visitors would not be aware of. The Parintins Folkloric Festival on an Amazon island coincided with the tournament. It is an extraordinary operatic competition where residents compete over who can retell an indigenous legend in the most flamboyant way.
A spectacular festival in the jungle, in fact, forms part of a very carefully thought out strategy to try and bring more tourists from Brazil and further afield to the Amazon.
Nós temos esperança que a partir daí
we hope that more big companies are going to invest here in tourism, in this sort of reflective tourism, as well as ecological tourism. And this will attract not only older tourists who love this, it will also bring younger visitors here too.
Some people who came to the World Cup and stayed on seemed convinced.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the World Cup. I don't really associate the Amazon with travel at all. It seems like this foreboding jungle.
It's incredible to me that it exists, that all of this exists in the middle of this forest. You know, you have to go on an hours and hours boat ride to arrive here. You'd never expect it.
Challenging visitors' preconceptions is something plenty of people here are relishing. Well, that festival happens once a year, and it will be interesting next year to see if visitor numbers are up, partly because, perhaps, of increased focus on this region owing to the World Cup.
That was Stephen Gibbs from a very loud city of Manaus.